We're now seeing the generation who are products of those type of parents, and it's horrifying.
Oh yeah, these kids are gonna be dumb, like
as hell. Alright, so today we're a couple of Gen Z black folks.
Gen Z black folks
reading. Ain't that some shit? Anyway, so we came upon Theodore I don't know how to say his pen name. That's not his real name, but this is pen name.
Oh yeah,
and the book is called Life at the Bottom. So it's an interesting book, and we're gonna go over our favorite chapters. So the first one is We Don't Want No Education, and we thought this was a good chapter to go over because a lot of these patterns and patterns that he identifies within the underclass Indian and underclass whites in Britain is very, very reminiscent of how blacks behave in America. So the first thing I underlined was, if you don't mend your ways and join us, they were saying, we'll beat you up. So this was, he gave a little anecdote talking about how the smart kids get beat up now. The smart kids get beat up now. And everybody's known this. This has been a trope. You see it in movies or whatever like that, but I don't think anybody stopped to ask why. Why do the smart kids get beat up?
It's because everybody else is not like them. They don't understand why they're so smart right now, and I feel like they want to know why why I don't have this drive to become better as far as like in academics, their academics go.
You think that they really think about that? Like, hey, this dude is so smart, why I can't be as smart as him? Because I'm not as smart as him, I'm gonna beat him up.
Yeah, insecurity. Because men tend to have their insecurity about some things, and they only just feel comfortable with, I don't know, just exerting some dominance over other people for qualities that they don't have. After 12 years of compulsory education, or should I say attendance school. So this line is pretty much just underlined because we find it ironic that people tend to go to, school but don't want to learn anything. They're just there for attendance. They're just there to make their parents proud, make their parents happy, and then just call it a night. They did what they got to do at school, and it's just more of like an attendance thing. They're not learning anything.
Yes, he goes on to talk about this anecdote of how a lot of these dudes who have Nazi symbols on them haven't even heard of the First and Second World Wars and could not name the dates of when they started and stopped. And one thought it was in the 18th century. You don't know these wars. You don't know when they happened. Yet you have a symbol from one of the guys that was involved in one of these wars.
And even one of the patients was just like, I just got it because I was bored. It was either get tattoos or do robbing.
You because you were bored.
Right. A swastika.
Right. That is some lower class shit. I'm sorry.
Right.
The teachers have received instructions that they are not to impart the traditional disciplines of spelling and grammar. Pedophagging, attention to details of syntax or orthography, is said to inhibit children's creativity and powers of expression. So we hear this in the media. These parents who say, I don't want to give them too much structure and boundaries because I don't want to crush their spirits. We're now seeing the generation who are products of those type of parents, and it's horrifying.
Oh yeah, these kids are gonna be dumb, like
as hell.
Now they got these things called participation trophies, where if your child just participate, he get a trophy for just showing up.
They're not gonna have any street knowledge. They're not going to be able to talk correct
grammar because they were told that everything they did was special and that you couldn't tell them anything wrong. You couldn't fail them for a test because it would hurt their egos. It would hurt their feelings. Feelings are above everything. So we can't have kids at school with hurt feelings. So we're just going to make them stupid.
Right.
The next part that we're going into is something that says everything is reduced to mere contest of wills. And so the children learns that all restraint is but an arbitrary imposition from someone or something bigger or stronger than himself. So he goes into how a lot of these households, these broken households in these inner city lower class areas, number one, a lot of them are fatherless.
I've never seen my dad.
And then number two, he goes into the style of discipline that the parent imposes, usually the mother, and it's very chaotic.
Did I just catch you wanting to be?
Sweet. Lord have mercy, my baby.
And the kid doesn't learn that they are supposed to be disciplined for something bigger, for something stronger, that there's power in being disciplined, and there's power in knowing, hey, when you're in this area you may not need to play, but in this area you can play. And it's like, okay, cool, be in this area you can play, but you can't touch this stuff. And just having those guardrails that parents put up, they don't get that.
They don't get that.
They don't get that guardrail because, one, their house is imbalanced. They have one parent instead of two, and then they're ill-equipped. They don't really know how to parent. So they don't have this respect for authority, and a lot of them start bucking authorities. That's why the majority of people who are in jail, males, are from single-parent households.
Out of wedlock.
So, of the generations of children who grew up with these pedagogical methods, it is striking how many of the more intelligent among them sense by their early 20s that something is missing from their lives. Me.
Definitely me too. Like, I do feel like I could have had a higher purpose in education, especially, well, I think I started to think about that like a couple of years ago. If I just did take my education more serious and just installed a little bit more discipline, I feel like I could have been in more advantageous positions.
Yes. I feel like from a young age I've been told that I was gifted, but just imagine how much more I could have done if I was pushed by my parents. He tells me all the time that he's surprised I came out normal. I think I was born within, I don't want to say this in a cocky way, but I'm just saying, for the conditions I was born in, I think I was born with an advantage. And because of that advantage, when things started, my culture started eroding on me and eroding the sharpness of me, it had further to erode versus other people who may not be conscientious people. They may not be, they may not have a certain set of character traits that, or certain situations in life. Because me moving, being an army kid, was a situation I couldn't control. Me going to Brunswick and being around a whole bunch of white kids for a second was a situation I can control. Coming back here, those are very, but every situation I'm like, bro, that was a pivotal moment. I would say
you should have.
For to develop an interest requires powers of concentration and ability to tolerate a degree of boredom, while the elements of a skill are learned for the sake of a worthwhile end.
So pretty much just putting investments within yourself, learn how to make sacrifices for yourself, because the process is going to be long and boring and painful. Well, it depends on the certain skill that you're trying to get into, but the point is to bear fruit from all the hard work that you implement, like just taking breaks from going out with your friends, just taking breaks with
any form of distraction, really.
Yeah, any form of pleasure, honestly.
I don't know about any form of pleasure. We're trying to reduce social media, we're trying to reduce TV, things of that sort, but we still like wine. We still have our chill nights, we still have our mornings where we try to be on time, but we still have our mornings where we sleep in. You know what I mean? I just think we're trying to do better. I wouldn't say eliminate them all.
I could try to eliminate them all, but I don't think I'll be successful.
I feel like I want to do steps. I want to atomic habit this thing. If we're going to get to the top, I'm not going to jump to the top. I'm going to slow this thing down and we're going to do piece by piece. I'd rather start with these, master these, add a little bit on, and see how far I can go than trying to jump from where we are to that. That's extreme.
That sounds good to me.
In an age of increasing technological change, those without the ability or inclination to learn will be left farther and further behind. You hear this? I don't know if you hear this very often, but basically you have to adapt. You have to get skills. You have to get a skill that somebody is willing to pay for.
Right. People that say that they don't want to do X, Y, and Z also wonder why they're not getting paid X, Y, and Z, because it's just like you're not doing anything that's really that skillful. You're doing something that everybody can do.
Yeah, that a lot of people can do. So the most, yeah, so the more disposable you are, the less you're gonna get paid. It's less managers are less disposable than team members.
Right.
So managers get paid more. Mm-hmm. Store directors are less disposable than team
leads. Yeah.
So they get paid more, you know what I mean? But but how do they get to this management? How do they get to the team lead? How do they get to the SD role?
They gotta fucking work.